What's up guys, Nando here, and we've got another comparisons video, and in this case we've got HTC U11 versus Galaxy S8 Plus. In these videos I like to compare hardware and I like to compare a bit of the software. Now I don't like to get into too much software comparisons because there are plenty of videos where people geek out over that, but mostly because I sense that software tends to be something that some people get a little bit more sensitive over, even more than hardware for some reason. I don't know why that is, but in this case, we're comparing Android, so I will discuss it a little bit more. If you catched my previous comparisons video that I did like a week ago between the iPhone 7 Plus and the Galaxy S8 Plus, I really didn't want to touch up on software. That's just inviting and waiting for too many people to get way too opinionated over something that, hey, we have argued and argued about for a very long time. With that being said, sorry for the ramble. HTC U11, I've used this for a little over 2 weeks, and the Galaxy S8 Plus, I've used that ever since it came out until this came out. And I'm going to start off by saying these are two super sexy phones. I kept the fingerprints on the HTC U11 so you guys get an understanding of what I'm about to talk about, but you do have some fingerprints on this Galaxy S8 Plus, but it's not as visible, and I think that the Midnight Black does a wonderful job of covering that up. Those fingerprints that you just saw there, as well as the reflection of the camera and possibly myself, is something that makes this phone, or in the case of the HTC U11, what makes that phone sexy and a very nice phone to hold in hand. Something that is extremely satisfying and something that is extremely frustrating all together. What I mean by that is we as geeks and as people that keep wanting better and better hardware for our phones, we have basically asked OEMs and these manufacturers to give us the best quality device that they can possibly make. And I think HTC U11 has finally done it. Now in the past they have made phones that rivaled the iPhone with that metal or aluminum, whatever they chose to go with. But I think that the glass that they've gone with in the HTC U11 is just another level of sleekness, another level of sexiness. The Galaxy S8 Plus is also doing the same thing. Both of these phones incorporate some sort of edge to their phones. I think that the edge display, or the edge curve, or what Samsung calls their infinity display on their Galaxy S8 Plus is better. I think that it looks nicer. However, I think that the edge or the curve on this HTC U11 feels better in hand. I mean, this right here literally spills over. And then it's greeted by this aluminum or metal side that feels good in hand, and then it just keeps spilling over the rest of your phone. I don't know why, but this to me feels better, and I constantly find myself just doing this. That's my fidget spinner because it just feels really good in hand. The Galaxy S8 Plus, there's nothing to say about it other than it's incredible. It feels great. It's not a sharp feel, although it is a bit sharper of a feel. Like for some reason there's just a, I don't know, just hole, or like you could squeeze or hold your hand around your phone better on the Galaxy S8 Plus than you can on the HTC U11. And I hesitated in saying squeeze because squeeze is all about HTC these days. See, what the HTC team have incorporated with their U11 is this squeezability. This part of the phone right here, from my fingers down, has sensors. And when you hold these sensors in your hand, you're actually able to determine how much pressure to put on the phone when squeezing and whether it will activate something. In this case, it activated the camera. So let me show you guys that again. I can just squeeze a little bit, and there it is. Now you can customize that to different things. However, That, in my opinion, is a very clever and very nice way of utilizing the phone's body, the materials, and these edges and displays that other OEMs have not done before. Samsung have done things such as edge display, or that edge light if someone's calling you, and customizing it, and that's cool. But what HTC has done with their squeeze or edge, or whatever they call it, edge sense or edge squeeze, is pretty cool. Now, like I said, both of these phones are very much all glass. Both of these phones, in whatever color you get, are going to allow tons and tons of fingerprints, tons and tons of dust to stick to it like it's nobody's business. And that is something that you just have to take it or leave it. I personally like to use cases with my devices because I do not want to risk dropping something that cost me over $600, and in this case over $900. But to each their own. Whether you use a case or you don't use a case, I think you will be very proud in taking this phone around with you, because these days phones aren't just something you put in your pocket. It's literally an extension of who you are personality-wise. It's a fashion statement. And both of these phones have done a great job in making a fashion statement with their phones. Now, when looking at the phone, both utilize USB-C. This guy right here, I was about to say both, but this guy, HTC U11, does not have a headphone jack, so it followed in Apple's footsteps and Motorola's footsteps. The Galaxy S8 Plus still maintains that. The HTC U11 has a speaker at the bottom, and the speaker at the top, where you usually listen to your calls, can both act for like stereo surround. HTC has what they call like their boom sound, and what I'll say about that is, in terms of clarity, the HTC U11 sounds better. In terms of loudness, the Galaxy S8 Plus gets much louder. So if you're the type of person that prefers loudness, go with the Galaxy S8 Plus. If you're the type of person that prefers quality and clarity, go with the HTC U11. Now, front-facing cameras, there's a big difference. I don't recall how many megapixels the Galaxy S8 Plus has. I don't know if it's 6 or 8, but the HTC U11 is rocking a 16 megapixel front-facing camera. The front-facing camera is pretty good. And I say that only as pretty good because it still doesn't take great low-light selfies. But when you do have good light, then the camera just completely destroys what's out there right now. When you flip it to the back and you discuss the rear-facing cameras, HTC U11 is going with a what they call a ultra pixel sensor, and they've been doing that for a while now. So it's 12 megapixel ultra pixel, while Samsung is going with your 12 megapixel. In terms of which one takes better pictures, personally, I'm going to say that the Galaxy S8 Plus takes the better pictures. And I say that again because I think that it takes in better low light. I know that HTC U11 has the crown on that website, DxOMark, or whatever you call it. I'm not saying that it takes bad pictures, because it takes incredible pictures, but I just prefer the pictures on the Galaxy S8 Plus. And that could be because Samsung loves to saturate their pictures. I don't know, but my eyes gravitate more towards this phone right there, the Galaxy S8 Plus. In terms of actual features, I think they both incorporate majority of the features that you expect in a modern day phone. The HTC U11 does allow you to have audio focusing, which is a feature that other phones do not incorporate. So that is something that when recording video or something like that, you can actually pick and choose where you want the audio to come out of a little better. So HTC U11, that's a big win right there. That's a big use of just hardware. But point is, you're not going to be disappointed in whichever phone you get for taking pictures and videos. Videos, I'm not going to talk much about it because they both shoot 4K. They both take really good videos. They both have support for SD cards. The HTC U11 lets you drop a 2 terabyte micro SD card in there. I can't remember how much you can put in the Galaxy S8 Plus, but hey, you can at least expand it. I know that's a fact. Comes standard with 64 gigs or 64 gigabytes of storage, and the HTC U11 I also think comes standard with 64 gigabytes as well. Now, when talking once again about software, and see, this is annoying because I gotta remember where I put my finger. Let me unlock this guy. When talking software, now that I unlocked my phones, I guess I'll mention that. Fingerprint sensors on, sorry, they're not even up and my OCD is killing me. Fingerprint sensors on these phones are very, very good. HTC U11 has it in the front. Galaxy S8 Plus has it in the back. I haven't had any issues unlocking HTC's phone because of where it's placed. In my previous comparisons video, I discussed that between the iPhone 7 Plus and the Galaxy S8 Plus, where the fingerprint sensor is placed dictates how fast I've unlocked either phone. And personally, if you're going to put the fingerprint sensor in the back, do not put it by the camera module. I mean, you literally have nothing to gain by doing so. I don't think it looks better, and I think it just causes confusion. And with that being said, I think just having it in the front, even though that's where everybody tends to put it, you at least ensure that someone knows where to put their finger and that there's nothing else on the screen that you care about protecting and that is going to interfere with your phone. So that's all I have to say about that. In terms of actually when you use them and you actually put your finger where you need to put it the right way, that's what she said, you then end up getting fast unlocks. Now, software, they both run Android, they both run Nougat, Samsung with TouchWiz, HTC with their Sense UI. I personally prefer Sense over TouchWiz. I really appreciate and enjoy the whole blink feed that they've got going on. I don't know, I just like it. I like just being able to swipe over and actually having all my news curated there. I don't like Bixby so far on the Galaxy S8 Plus. I don't think it's done anything that I'm just like, oh man, I really, really needed to do that, or now that I have that, I can't stop using it. That's not the case with my experience so far with Bixby. Another thing is when you're actually using blink feed, see the bottom icons, camera, whatever you put at the bottom, it stays there. So you're not tethered to having to go back to your main home screen in order to use whatever app you choose to put down there in the app drawer. But regardless, they're both using current versions of Android. Both of these phones utilize 4 gigabytes of RAM. Both of these phones are rocking latest and greatest from Qualcomm, so you're going to have fast phones. And when I say fast, they're both very, very fast, but I think that HTC U11 has the snappier phone, and I think that has to do with their version of Android. Their Sense UI is just crispier, snappier, not as bloaty as Samsung's. So keep that in mind and decide for yourself which one you prefer to have. They're both water resistant or waterproof, whatever you want to call it. Again, I'm sorry, that is a bit of hardware that I missed. HTC finally brought that with this phone. They haven't in the past, so they were late to the party, but now that it's there, good job, HTC. In terms of pricing, you're going to get the cheaper option if you go HTC U11's way. You can actually buy them on Amazon as well. So I feel like it's easier to just get HTC U11 in your hand. Just seems better for those looking for an unlocked phone. Obviously, this guy right here is a massive screen, 6.2-inch screen. This right here is a 5.5-inch screen. But when you're actually comparing them in terms of hardware, and I apologize, guys, that I skipped this part in my initial overview of hardware. They're basically both the same. The Galaxy S8 Plus is a little bit taller. The U11 is wider. And that tends to be the case when comparing the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus to any other phone out right now. Also, the Galaxy S8 Plus obviously utilizes their screen much more efficiently. I mean, I think that the U11 rivals the iPhone 7 Plus when it comes to chin size, both at the bottom and the top. I mean, that right there is like a full finger. So really check that out. See? So, and that's it. I have enjoyed using both of these phones immensely. I've used the Galaxy S8 Plus for longer periods of time than I've used the HTC U11. When I'm using these phones, I get much better battery life with the Galaxy S8 Plus. It does have the bigger battery and the bigger screen, but it just lasts longer. I tend to get anywhere from 5.5 to 7 hours or so of screen on time on the Galaxy S8 Plus, and I only tend to get somewhere between 4.5 to 5.5 on the U11. So that's not bad, but this is better. They both charge with Quick Charge 3.0. So there's that. We've got wireless charging on deck for the Galaxy S8 Plus as well. So do keep that in mind if you're considering either one of these phones. If money is the deciding factor, if your budget is the deciding factor, and you can't sway yourself one way or the other, obviously you're going to go with the HTC U11. It's just a cheaper phone. But if you're willing to spend a little bit more money, I think that you'll be extremely satisfied with the Galaxy S8 Plus. I think that if you haven't had a Galaxy phone in a while, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with their TouchWiz. However, HTC U11, it just feels different. It just feels like they're actually putting some time and effort into their phones. And I can't say anything really that bad about it. There's nothing about it that's going to draw me away from using it. Yeah, so hopefully this video helped you guys. If you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. Let me know in the comment section below which of these two you prefer, or which of these two would you get if you had to choose. Do you already own one of these two phones, or are you looking forward to the next batch of phones coming out from Apple, from Google, from LG with their successor to the V20, the Note 8? Maybe even the BlackBerry Key 1. Let me know in the comment section below. Let's get a discussion going, guys. And like always, stay geeky, because that's the most important thing. Like this video. I appreciate every one of those, and it's free. And I'll catch you in the next video. It was Nando. I'm out with this one. On to the next. Peace and salute.